PlayStation. Firewalk Studio. Unfortunately, that sucker got shut down. We got a lot to talk about today, man. Jason Schreier has hooked us up. Just happened, really. Like 10, 15 minutes ago. And I felt like, you know what? Let's jump in this, man. Let's jump in this. What's going on, you guys? Gaming out here coming at you for another video. Today we're going to be talking about Concord, Sony, PlayStation, and a company called Firewalk Studio. First off, I want to say I hate studios are getting shut down. It's never a nice time, never a good type of video to make. But when it comes to a situation like this, it's weird by itself. Now, for those of you that don't know what Concord is, what Firewalk Studios is, there is a game called Concord that came out this year. PlayStation has marketed it for a few years now. It's been at a couple of their events. I remember there was one event that they were there for felt like half the show. Realistically, it was probably like 3 or 4 minutes, but they did that opening opening cutscene, and it was long, considering I'm sure the event itself was only like 30 minutes long. It was a state of play. But anyway, back to the story. Firewalk Studio made that game. Colin Moriarty over there at Last Stand Media got a little bit of info. Clearly none of it was confirmed, but I believe it, that PlayStation, without the studio cost, spent about $400 million on Concord. Keep in mind, this is during the time of COVID. Now, I know a lot of you was telling me hardcore in my comment section on Iron Lord's podcast, telling me hardcore that COVID didn't affect PlayStation. You're seeing the effect. PlayStation had a lot of games that was at the very end of development, so they were able to get them out relatively with ease. Now, clearly there were some, issues, but they had a lot more games that was almost done, so it was easier to pull it out. Now, when it comes to games that was at the beginning of development, that's why you're seeing PlayStation not necessarily be announcing anything, because, COVID pushed everything back 6 months to a year. So that's what you're seeing here now. This game was developed during that time. And that's why it cost them so much money. Because, one, it was extended on how long it should have been. Now, I think it was rumored that this game was in development for like 7 years. I don't necessarily believe that. Sometimes I feel like they be exaggerating the amount of time that was actually put into developing it. I'll actually have to talk to a developer friend. I'm curious when a development cycle officially begins. Is it like when anyone's working on it? For instance, when a company is, working on another game and they have a small team working on that game, do they consider it then? Or do they consider it when they start full-blown production where the entire studio or the whole team is working on the game? I don't know. I'm not educated enough on that. I don't know. 7 years. We'll go with 7 years if that's truly what the leak reported time frame was. So essentially, Concord cost them $400 million. They made an Overwatch competition game. Now, keep in mind, all of this, what I'm about to say, is speculation. But PlayStation and Firewalk Studios was comparing this to Star Wars. They thought that they were going to get Star Wars, and I'm pretty sure that was the actual title. It might have been another popular IP like Lord of the Rings, but I'm pretty sure it was Star Wars. They were comparing it to who's going to be just as big as Star Wars, and there was toxic positivity thrown in there. When you have a room full of people, no one can officially really talk about anything because they're afraid they're going to get blacklisted, or they're afraid they're going to get their job lost because can't really push back against the higher ups if everyone's practicing toxic positivity. So essentially what happened is the game came out, Concord, and it was shut down within 3 weeks. Now, I theorized, and it looks like I was definitely wrong, and I'll admit that I felt like the way that the lead dev came out, it looked like they were going to bring Concord back in some form of a free-to-play game, because that made more sense to me. The way he worded it, it was actually being leaked on Steam in the files that they were actually going to bring it back in some way, shape, or form with a free to play. It was in the files. Now, clearly that's not happening no more. I guess Sony and PlayStation has decided just to go ahead and knock it off. That's where we are up to today. Now let's throw on this. Today, Jason Schreier tweeted at 1:43 p.m. Current time is 2:11. Like I told you, this is right off the press. Breaking news. I put that news in there because I wanted to. Sony is shutting down Firewalk Studios, the maker of recent shooter Concord. Then we got a little update from PlayStation Studio. Let's click that and let's go down. Dear team, I hope to God they're not talking to the actual studio. It's kind of weird saying dear team. Below is an internal email. Okay. So this is like an internal email. But why is it coming from the... Okay, whatever. Today I want to share some important updates from the Sony Interactive Studio Business Group. We consistently evaluate our game portfolio and status of our projects to ensure we are meeting near and long-term business priorities. As part of our ongoing efforts to strengthen the SIE studio business, we have to make a difficult decision regarding two of our studios, Neon Call and Firewalk Studios. I'm not really sure who this is. Oh, okay. So what do they make? Are they like a support studio? Anyway, let's go back. Expanding our PlayStation devices. Anyone that knows what games that studio makes with their support studio, put in the comment section below. Crafting engagement online experiences alongside our single-player games are 4 local areas for us to evaluate our revenue streams. We need to be strategic, though I'm bringing our games to new platforms and recognize our games fall short of meeting player expectations. And bringing our games to new platforms, that's interesting. While mobile remains a priority growth for the studio business, we are in the very early stages of our mobile effort. To achieve success in the area, we need to concentrate on titles that are in line with PlayStation Studio pedigree and the potential to reach more players globally. With this refocused approach, we'll close. Okay, so it's a mobile studio. Okay, well, game will be not be moving forward. I want to express my gratitude to everyone for their hard work and endless passion to innovate. Regarding Firewalk, as announced in early September, an important update on Concord. That is just pretty much saying it was shut down. Certain aspects of Concord were exceptional, but others did not land with enough players. As a result, we took the game offline. We have spent considerable time with these players exploring all our options. And I think that's where it was talking about whether or not they would bring this back as a free-to-play game. Clearly, they chose their decision. After much thought, we have determined our best path forward to permanently sunset the game and close the studio. I want to thank all of the Firewalk of their craftsmanship and creative spite and dedication. The first PvP first-person shooter genre in the competition is a competitive space that's continuously evolving, and unfortunately, we did not hit our targets with this title. We will take the lessons learned from Concord and continue to advance our live service capabilities to deliver future growth in this area. I know none of this is easy to hear, particularly with colleagues and friends departing SIE. Both decisions were given serious thought, and ultimately we feel that they are the right ones to strengthen the organization. Neon Park and Neon Cool and Firewalk were home to many talented individuals, and we worked to find placement for some of those impacted within our global community of studios where possible. I'm curious how many people they actually take from the studios. But anyway, I'm a big believer in the belief of embracing creative experimentation and developing new IPs. However, growing through substantial finances, especially in a challenging economic environment, is crucial. While today is a difficult day, there is much to look forward to in months ahead of our studio business group and our teams. I remain confident that we are building a resilient and capable organization driven by creating unforgettable entertainment. I don't know why I'm butching today, man. Experiences for our players. Thank you for your continued support. So you guys heard it there. You know, they're shutting it down. Look, if a game costs them $400 million, and that's not including what it costs to buy the studio, there's going to be repercussions, unfortunately. And sadly, I don't think a lot of people asked for this type of game. There wasn't really a market for this, especially being in the hero shooter market that has so much competition. Overwatch by itself is a crazy competition, and there's a Marvel game coming into the scene. What do they think they could really do on here? Once again, Firewalk, all the people, I hope you guys land on your feet. You know, it sucks when this stuff happens. But unfortunately, when a title flops as hard as Concord did, there's going to be serious repercussions at the end of the day. But anyway, I'm kind of curious what you guys have to say about this. Concord, Firewalk Studio, PlayStation. I think we all knew this was coming. You know, when we saw what happened when they just shut down a whole game, I ain't never seen that in the industry to that degree. They didn't just pull it off the store. They shut down the whole service. So I'm kind of curious exactly going forward if PlayStation's going to continue to go down this games as a service path. I hope not. I do think they need to focus some on multiplayer infrastructure, but not as hardcore as they were, because the amount of money that they have probably spent on multiplayer infrastructure, including Concord, including the Spider-Man online game they had, there's so much games that they were in development that took away from primary games. I'm kind of curious what the mindset on PlayStation is. I'm sure we'll hear about that more in the future. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button. Is always appreciated. You can always sub to the channel. We make weekly content on here. My voice is going out, man. Follow me on Twitter, Lord Addict ILP. You can also follow me on Addict Arena. Today, I'm going to be streaming either Call of Duty or the new Life is Strange. There's a couple of things I can go through there. But anyway, I appreciate everyone coming through. Until next time, peace. Man, I caught that on a good time, man. I woke up, looked on my phone. About 40, 50 minutes later, bam, that happened. See you guys.